Hey everyone, we have Paul Parmet here. He invests in a really interesting type of real estate, specifically boarding houses in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania. So I wanted to have Paul on the show here to talk a little bit about what his experience has been. So Paul, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on?
Absolutely. I've been investing in real estate for a couple of years now. I was doing standard multifamily homes for a while, just duplexes, just pretty standard stuff. And recently I transitioned into rooming houses. I just started that a little over a year ago and it's been going pretty well. So I'm thinking that's my future investment strategy from now.
All right, now when people think boarding house, people, especially our age, the first thing they're going to think of is Hey Arnold. So is that the type of tenant that you're dealing with?
No, maybe in the 90s, when I feel like all those shows were like that. They had the person living in like Midtown Manhattan and they were working at like a coffee shop or something like that. But no, it's not like that. This is more of like a transient housing situation. So some people do stay long term and they do like it there. They stay there for years, but a lot of times for people to get kind of like back on their feet. So just a good spot to stay for a little bit while you get your other parts of your life in order. You just stay there for a while.
What got you into boarding houses in the first place?
Just searching. I was just looking for my next property on all the Zillow, Truly, all those websites, and I saw these rooming houses and I started doing a deep dive into them. I'm like, oh, there's actually a lot of benefits here. Went to go see the property. The owner actually owned the hardware store in town, so he took care of the place really well and just started that, and I think it was a great decision.
And what made you pick the Lehigh Valley region specifically to invest in?
Bunch of reasons. So one, the Lehigh Valley area is actually one of the highest rental demands in all of America right now, and I'm seeing it myself. I have people calling me on a daily basis asking for rooms. I'm specifically in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where I personally believe it's going to improve a lot in the coming years. About a decade ago, the Pennsylvania government gave them $1 billion to just basically build it up, revitalize it, all that. So I'm hoping just to be on like the outskirts of that redevelopment. And on top of that, Pennsylvania has more landlord-friendly laws. So when you're dealing with lower income housing, like rooming houses, it's a lot better to be in a state where if some bad person is in there, you can get them out in a timely fashion, which I've also had to experience.
So now you were mentioning beforehand that the type of tenant that you're finding in these houses, they're more transient. So what's your typical like vacancy or eviction rate for these?
The eviction hasn't happened too many times, but it does happen because they are transient. You do have a lot of turnover, but I have a pretty good setup. And like I said, there's many people who are asking for a room. So it all happens pretty quickly. Like the old tenant gives me the keys. I clean out the room a day or two later, get whatever I might need to replenish the room, like if it needs a new mattress or something like that, or a new microwave, whatever, what have you. And then I have the next person in there within like 3 days. So it's all very, very quick.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that is a fast turnaround time. Yeah. So what's the cash flow looking like on these boarding houses compared to the long-term rentals that you have, like the duplex you were talking about before?
Significantly better, which is obviously a huge reason as to why I'm doing this. So compared to my duplexes, they're doing about 35% better than them. It's just a matter of density. Like, you have a duplex, you have 2 tenants for X amount of square feet. When you're dealing with a rooming house where they're just having individual rooms and shared amenities, you're just having more people. So you're able to get more rents in that way.
All right, and now are you seeing more expenses on the boarding houses compared to like your duplex long-term rentals?
There is more because mainly 2 things. One, I'm paying for all the utilities in there. And then 2, a lot of them don't take care of the place as well as someone who's going to be living there more long-term. So I provide a mattress, microwave, and refrigerator for each room. And a lot of times people just don't treat those things well. So I have to get like new box spring or something like that, or there's some holes in the wall or something. Typically nothing too terrible, but they do rough it up a little bit more than typical.
Just a few kitchen fires here and there, right?
Yeah, nothing too big. Take them out real quick.
All right, now as far as the leases are obviously going to be a little different than your typical kind of long-term rental. So how do you structure these leases?
So the places are actually technically hotels. They have a hotel license. So they don't get leases and they're not really considered tenants. They're considered like like guests, like they would at a hotel. So it's pretty straightforward. I give them like a one-page temporary accommodation form, and it's basically the same as when you go to a hotel. You just sign a quick form, they give you the keys, you pay for X amount of days, and that's pretty much it.
Now, as far as occupancy limits, typically it's 2 unrelated adults per room. Is this the same thing with boarding houses?
It's dependent on where you're at. So my main thing is I'm just dealing with zoning limitations. So the building is allowed for X amount of people, so I can have that many people in there. Sometimes you're dealing with SROs, so single room occupants, where they're specifically say you can only have one person per room. So luckily I'm not dealing with that. So it's just the zoning mainly, and also just being reasonable, because I'm not going to squeeze 10 people in a room. So
Lots of bunk beds.
that's right, yeah. More room for activities.
Exactly. So as I can imagine, it's probably hard to get financing for these types of properties because it's such a niche that's not very common. So what's your experience been with getting financing on these?
That was one of the big hurdles. So most lenders, they don't want to touch this kind of stuff because it's considered high risk. So you have to find a specialized lender that's willing to take the risk to do this. Typically, you're going to have a higher interest rate with that as well. But it's a very relationship-based lending, because once I was able to prove this proof of concept, then I'm looking at other projects now, and now I have lenders calling me left and right saying they want to fund this and all this good stuff. So you just have to prove that you can do it. But the initial hurdle is certainly there, and I had a lot of issues with lenders who weren't able to finance it or just were giving really bad terms trying to compensate for the risk.
And are you self-managing these properties, or do you have a manager there or super on site?
So I do have a manager I work with. Specifically, Allentown does say that you have to have a property manager within, I forgot how many miles, but there has to be one in there. So I'm working with somebody, and he's been managing those, and hopefully it'll be for this upcoming project I have.
And when it comes to qualifying these applicants, I assume a lot of them don't have a credit history, not even a bank account. So what's your qualification process?
Vibes, bro. No, but you just have to kind of talk to the person. It's really like a personal relationship you have to have with all these people. So you just ask them like, hey, what's going on? Why are you moving here? What's the situation? And like I said earlier, it's transient. So a lot of them will say like, yeah, I just moved from out of state. I just got a job at this place. And you work with them. You kind of just see what kind of people they are, and if you can trust them, and they'll take care of the place and all that kind of stuff. And it's a two-way street also, because I often will provide work for them, like contracting work, or if they want to clean or something like that. And because of that, it becomes kind of like a family where I give them a place to live, treat them with respect, treat the house with respect, and give them what they need. And I give them work as well, so they want to make sure that everyone here is satisfied and that we can grow together.
Okay, and can these tenants get Section 8 vouchers for the boarding houses?
Unfortunately, no. I should say specifically where I'm at, no. I do believe it is township dependent, but more often than not, Section 8 won't do rooming houses. I've checked in a couple other townships and they don't have it there as well, but in theory it is allowed, but I haven't seen it anywhere yet.
And switching over to insuring these properties, have you had any issues with getting insurance? Are the premiums higher, or is it in line with what you're paying for your long-term rentals?
Insurance is expensive. That for sure is a thing. It was you have to definitely get a bunch of quotes because the prices got very, very high. But I should say I did have an incident occur at one of my houses. There was a fire, and luckily no one got hurt, but the building had to get vacated, and it was deemed inhospitable for a while. And long story short, I had to use the insurance, obviously. So that insurance, because I paid such a premium and they knew that it was high risk, the risk occurred. So they now have to pay out. So I was getting all my rental income compensated, and they paid me fairly well for the damages themselves. I used an adjuster, which he also did a fantastic job. They took on a high risk policy, and the risk occurred. So you get what you pay for.
And now, obviously, these properties are very management intensive. So what's your long-term strategies on these? Are you looking to just keep picking up boarding houses? Do you eventually want to 1031 into lower management properties, or some other strategy?
Yeah, so it's kind of what I was saying earlier. You get a relationship with a lot of the people there, and I kind of form like a little community of people assisting me with things. So I have one of my tenants, he's doing some work for me at a property, like construction work. Another one's doing cleaning for another place. Another one of them is actually a licensed exterminator, so he's doing some exterminating at another spot. And I've been working with this property manager now for a while, and I told him I want to grow with him. So this next project I'm looking at in Allentown, he's also going to be managing that. And that's more or less the goal. I'm just going to hopefully build this large community and have all the infrastructure and individuals that I need to do all the things that come about. And it is very management intensive, which is why a lot of people don't want to deal with it. Like my multifamilies I have, they're nothing. It's on occasion I'll have something going on. Here I'm on the phone every single day. Something's happening. Someone's telling me about something. Someone wants to move out. There's a lot of things that have to happen. So you have to be very active and ready to take on a large workload.
So if someone wants to get into boarding house investing, what advice would you give to them?
I would say if you're ready to take on the challenge, it's certainly financially lucrative. My single and multifamily homes have been relatively easy to manage. This is an entirely different animal. So we've had everything under the sun happen. We have had fights in the building. We have had drugs in the building. There's been guns pointed at people. You have to be willing to deal with this kind of stuff. And I got the police department on speed dial, my lawyer's on speed dial. So if you're willing to take on that challenge and you're willing to also hopefully remove a lot of those negatives and in a small way gentrify the neighborhood yourself, then I think it's a great idea. You'll make more money, you'll actually make a better community in the long run, and you just will grow a lot quicker if you go down this route versus just standard investing, in my opinion.
Okay, now if someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get in contact? If they have any questions or looking to ask you about the deals that you're getting into?
No, sure. I'm old school, so just give me a call or a text, and my LinkedIn as well is an easy way to contact me.
All right, thanks, Paul. I mean, I really appreciate you coming
course.
in and really just being upfront and honest of the good, the bad, and the ugly of boarding houses. So I'm sure everyone else as well appreciates your candor on this. So yeah, thank you again.
No, absolutely. If anyone wants to reach out and ask any questions, I'm glued to my phone, so look forward to talking with anybody.